what you tell yourself, your body believes. So, there's this whole thing of, if you tell yourself that you're gonna be bad at trading, you will, like, your body, your brain believes it. I think our body is often overlooked, and I think it's our most competitive advantage.
If I just sit back up straight, and everyone who's on the call do this, just sit up straight properly, I automatically feel more in control. Whereas this, I automatically feel like I'm being controlled by the thing I'm looking at, versus here, I feel in control. Welcome everybody to Rich in Conversation with me, Lewis, and the incredible, wonderful, phenomenal human being that is Anisha. So I tend to not do very good introductions, but I'll tell everyone about how we met first. And everyone, just give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me, and the car alarm that won't stop that's going off in the background as well. Hello Tara, hello Alan, hello Ed, lovely to see you. Yes, Ed, I've dropped you a message, by the way. If it is that Ed, get back to me if you can do. That would be great.
Come on, Ed.
It's very helpful. Yeah, come on Ed, come on. So yeah, me and Anisha met when we were both speaking at a event called Carfest, which was really great fun, and then we managed to see each other 2 years on the trot there, which is great. And just kind of got on straight away. She's an incredible human being doing incredible things, and I love meeting people who are super passionate about what they do and are on a bit of a mission with that, and that is very much Anisha. So yes, that's all right, Ed. Yeah, I'm not going to introduce you. Tell everybody a bit about who you are, what you do, why you're passionate about it, and all of that sort of good stuff.
Wowza. Okay, so obviously thanks for having me. And I'm first and foremost, I'm an award-winning osteopath. So all things musculoskeletal health. I do that, I guess, by day. But also I create content on Instagram. I speak on stages about lots of different things, obviously structurally, osteopathy and how you can help yourself, but also things like how I advise leaders on how they can tune into their own body, their own posture in order to perform better. And that's something that I really enjoy, something that's often overlooked. And I've written a book called Heal Your Back. And I don't advertise it enough. So everyone, Heal Your Back on Prime.
Yeah. I'll find a link and then I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, thank you. And I essentially, my mission, I guess, is to empower the world to recognize that they have the ability to heal themselves, and they have the choice. So I try to give out as much information or whatever I can to show the world that you can have control. Also, the other thing I do is I run 4 clinics as well. I forgot about that one.
That's a lot. Yeah. Remember everybody, and by the way, I've just put the link to that book into the chat for everybody, for Heal Your Book. Remember everybody, you can ask questions as we go through. So there's so much that you do. You are, running 4 clinics. One thing you've not said, where are those clinics?
Oh yeah, that's true. So I've got a clinic in Hitchin in Hertfordshire, in Surrey near Cobham, in central London, of course, and then in Newbury, which is like Reading area.
So what is it that takes you to Dubai so often then?
Yeah, so I do also go to Dubai. So I have patients there as well, but I have a patient list there. So I wouldn't say that I have a clinic there. But I do see patients there. I work with brands out there. And I do speeches out there as well. So yeah, that is very fun.
Amazing. So a question I've got for you, and by the way, these conversations can go in loads of different directions, and sometimes I accidentally ask quite challenging questions. So just be prepared. If you don't want to answer, you have to. Yeah. Um,
Like,
one of the things you say, which I find language really interesting. So one of the things that you said is, first and foremost, you're an award-winning osteopath. So why is that first and foremost? Because you're so much more than that as well. So why is it that you lead with that?
it's a very interesting question. So I would say I think I lead with that because I guess it's the degree I did, and the yeah, basically just the it's a degree I did. I have a qualification in that. It's the thing I've done for the longest time. It's probably the thing I guess I feel most confident and comfortable in. Like the minute I'm in clinic and I've got a white coat on, it's like, oh yeah, it's like I know everything. But I guess maybe there's yeah, it's probably a confidence thing, maybe.
And it's, I think, similar to me, because obviously I'm a trader, but I don't feel like that's all that I am. So I find it hard to not lead with that because that is what I'm known for. So that's what I tend to talk about. But it's also my realm where no one can get me on it. Do you know what I mean? Like no one can catch me out on anything trading related because I know it. Like there's nothing to catch me out on because it is what I am and what
Yeah,
I've been doing for over 12 years. So I
yeah,
feel like I probably lead with that as well. Um, because it is a place of comfort in terms of
yeah,
my own identity, especially if I'm going to be on stage or doing something like this. I would lead with that because no matter what questions come through about it, either I can answer it. If I can't answer it, it's not important. And see, no one can ask me a question which is going to catch me off guard or make me kind of fumble or anything like that, which I find really interesting.
yeah.
Uh, Holly says you are more than the role and profession we take in life. Very, very true. That's very, very true. So next question for you from me is, you mentioned something really interesting. I'm sure a lot of people will want to know the answer to this. So you said you help people to kind of tune into their own bodies. Um, A, how do people do that? And B, what is kind of the benefit of that and the reason that people need to do that?
So, I mean, I think our body is often overlooked, and I think it's our most competitive advantage. That people talk about the fact that, there's no other you, you're uniquely yourself, and that's your, I guess, USP in anything that you do. Uh, and so, what I do is I sort of help people to, um, I was going to say, be at one with their body. So it is about
Not to
presence.
be confused with the bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, so it's about sort of being present in the moment, being mindful and thinking, checking in with yourself, but then also shifting that mindset as well. So um, when we are in our heads, which is probably, I would say, 98% of the population, majority of the time, um, it can impact everything physiologically. So, if you're in your head, you're worried, you're stressed, it's going to impact how you breathe. Now, how you breathe, if we think about it anatomically, I'm not going to go too much into it because people will fall asleep.
We actually have some people who are very into breath work on this call, so they'll be loving
Oh,
it. Yeah.
yeah. So anatomically, they will probably also know that your lungs, the apex of your lung, comes up underneath your collarbone here, right? So it comes up underneath your collarbone and it attaches into your neck. Now, the nerve supply to your diaphragm is also in your neck. So when people are stressed, their breathing can change, and consequently that can restrict rib movement, it can restrict lung functionality, and it can pull on these areas and then predispose you to things like headaches. Now, that's the physiological side that's gonna impact obviously how you feel in terms of constant pain. So you've got low productivity, and all of those things. but then also it impacts how you hold yourself, right? So your posture. So when you are impacting your lungs, you can, for instance, be a little bit closed off and things like that. And interesting fact for you, there's no actual evidence behind posture impacting your pain, right? So it's very commonly assumed that if you slump or have bad posture, that you're going to get neck pain, you're going to get lower back pain, right? But actually, the truth is that if you there's more evidence behind good posture, sitting up straight, being related to how you feel. So, they did I'm watching you.
Yeah, I'm now sitting up very straight. Yeah, there we go.
It's a shame no everyone can't put their cameras on really, and I'd just be judging everyone, not just you. Yeah, there's evidence to show that basically they did like a study where there were 20 people. They put 10 people in a group and another 10 in a group, and they had like say 4 judges. Now they basically just got all 20 people to go up and do a speech, a 2-minute speech. Now what the judges didn't know is that half of the group had done some posture work and like this whole power posing thing before for like a minute or 2 minutes before going on stage. And then they mixed them all up. They didn't know who was in which group, and they had to rate their performance basically and how they came across. And basically everyone in the group that did the power pose performed better and was rated better than those that just went straight on stage. So it's really interesting how posture can impact how you show up in your mind as well. So
Yeah.
it's about both those things.
So on that point, because I think when people talk about checking in with themselves, I don't think, well, I don't anyway. I don't think I normally think about my body, if that makes sense. It's very much a mental exercise.
Yeah.
So is there maybe some tools and techniques that you use or you would recommend to people when they are checking in with themselves and being present in the moment or being present with themselves that engage the body versus just the mind so they can inhabit that entire space?
Yeah. I think it's, how I think there's like quite a common meditation practice where they say, go through your body bit by bit and you can squeeze the muscles and then let go, for instance, to sort of really relax. And I use, I guess, a similar principle is literally just using like your body and like scanning it almost like a photocopier. Yes, body scanning with the breath. Perfect. Yeah, so that is the best way, essentially. And going through each, like, how do my eyes feel? How does my,
Okay. Yeah. So does
yeah,
that,
it's kind of using each, because for instance, even if you like say go to your forehead, a lot of people might be like, actually, yeah, I've got a bit of tension there, a bit of tightness there, and then so that sort of thing.
yeah. So what do you do when you find that tension?
Um, love that. Essentially, what you're doing is just being aware of it. It's about, so this is about bringing yourself back into your body.
Yeah.
And being aware of it. You're not in your head and like on adrenaline, rushing through the day. I guess in your guys' case, you're trading, it's like making sure that you're always on, etc. It's like, it's a lot. So that's how you're sort of bringing yourself back.
Yeah. And I wonder actually on that trading point, so thank you for bringing it back to trading because that's what we do.
No worries. You're welcome.
it's true. If we're wanting to think about optimizing our own performance as traders, even just the posture in which we choose to adopt as we sit in front of our screens, if we're like this all the time and we're automatically in that kind of what that creates in terms of our positioning versus that, like if I just sit back up straight and everyone who's on the call do this, just sit up straight properly, I automatically feel more in control. It's like I'm becoming aware of what I'm sensing as I do certain things. Whereas this, I automatically feel like I'm being controlled by the thing I'm looking at versus here, I feel in control, which is a really interesting feeling. Give me a yes in the chat if you guys can feel that as well. That difference between when you're like this and kind of, I find myself kind of like absorbed into the screen, like I'm being pulled into it. Versus here, I feel it's really interesting. I've never really noticed that distinction before, but here I feel in control. And Tara says, yeah, it's making a difference. Emma as well. Alan, yeah, it feels better, right? It's strange, very strange. So just to make this all about me, but I don't know if you know this, but I ran the London Marathon on Sunday.
I had no idea. Please tell me every single minute of it.
It's a miracle I'm not wearing the medal right now, to be honest. I was told I wasn't allowed to, otherwise I would be.
You know what? I would too. I would literally just like wear it the whole time. So
I literally went to the supermarket in it yesterday. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, why not? People need to know. So speaking of being present, I was very conscious going into the London Marathon that I've been prepping for months to be there. And part of my training, like to get me through, was you're going to actually be running the London Marathon at some point. Like you're actually going to be in that moment, actually running the London Marathon. So when I was doing the marathon, I didn't use my earpods. I didn't listen to music, didn't listen to anything. I just wanted to be fully present in the moment. And alongside that, that included being conscious and aware of the pain. And so I was like, oh, this is interesting because I'm almost using the pain as an anchor to be present in my own body rather than detached from the pain. And there's a certain level of detachment because you don't want to just focus on the pain the whole time and you want to focus on other things as well. But my question is, and I don't know if you can answer this, but I cried like most of the way round because I was just, and I think it's because I was just being so conscious and present in my own body. I don't know if I was going through like some trauma release or whatever was going on, but I just cried so much going around. And maybe it's because I was not distracted by anything and I was just so in awe of everything that was going on around me as well, versus maybe it just being trauma release. But I was just so in awe of like all the stories, all the reasons why people were running, all the like the best of humanity. It felt like what humans are meant to be, like cheering and supporting one another. But I do wonder if there's a connection between having that going on externally, but then choosing to remain present in your own body. Not that I was necessarily intentionally scanning, but I am being conscious and aware of my body as I do that as well to make sure I'm not going too fast, too slow, pushing too hard, being in too much pain versus being able to be manageable and go through as well. So yeah, I don't really know what my question is, but is that kind of like a normal experience? Do you kind of see that kind of stuff happen when people become present in their own bodies, that there's that kind of emotional release that happens as well?
Definitely. There's a great book called Your Body Keeps Score.
Love it. Yes.
And there's another one by Gabor Mate, I can't say his name. So
yeah.
Called When Your Body Says No. So these are great examples of how our bodies hold tension, stress, trauma, and you know, it's shocking how many I actually say to people that, you know, they're like, what's your speciality? You know, what do you specialize in? And actually I say my specialty is actually getting to the root cause of the problem, which is often a combination of that mind body connection. So like 99% of my patients, I'm like that because they'll come to me and, you know, having obviously been on TV, author, etc., they come to me and they're like, okay, I think you must be the best, right? Because you've been on TV.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, I'd love to say that was true, but I'm not quite sure. I'm happy to be humble about it. But, you know, and so I get very complex cases. And a lot of the time I'm like, this is actually stemming from something far more deep rooted. You know, sometimes people come in and have, neck pain, and then it will transpire that when they were 15 they were in a really serious car accident, and then they'll start crying about their remembering this whiplash and that their parents didn't take them seriously and all this kind of stuff, and then they'll walk out and they'll be like, oh my god, I feel so much better, and I'll barely have even treated their neck. Our brain is like wired to protect us, right, which is a great thing, but also it can be hyper protective. It can be an overprotective parent, right? So it's about teaching it what it should protect, and then bringing down the alarm systems that it's put up itself and are hypersensitive. You need to make yourself aware of them.
Yeah, incredible. It's the way our bodies do protect us, but also store that information rather than releasing it, which is a whole smart in one sense, silly in another. Which actually brings me on to the other question I had for you. So you said kind of the book that you've got is about you can learn to heal yourself, basically. Can we really? Because conventional medicine or theory is that you go to a healer or a doctor or somebody to help you to heal. So can we really heal ourselves, and what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is in relation to sort of musculoskeletal health, and also, I don't know if anyone's found recently, but if you're in the UK and you go to the doctor here, it's very much like, we're not going to give you antibiotics, just ride it out.
Wow.
Like, it's very much like, you'll be fine. Just, it might be 2 weeks. You're going to feel really rubbish, but, your body is going to fight this itself. You'll be fine. Right.
Yeah.
So, and you are fine. But obviously there are lots of conditions that you do need medicine for. You do need medication for. But when it comes to musculoskeletal health, I believe absolutely majority of conditions you can drastically change how much pain you're in by doing, for instance, what's in my book.
Yeah, which there is the link to in the chat if people want to go and grab that, and I will post it again, just so everybody does have it for sure. So talk to me about that a bit. So why do you feel like it is possible? The links in the chat there. Why do you think it is possible on a musculoskeletal level to do that? And then also, what do you think are the most common things that cause people to have pain or difficulty with that aspect of their health?
So I think the most common reason why people have that difficulty with that part of their health is because we now live in a world where we're sitting a lot. There's also a lot of hybrid working right now, so post-COVID, so people are sitting in tents in the middle of a field having a video call, and so
I feel attacked, but yes.
and but that's it's fine. It's just what's happening is people's bodies are adapting, and actually people underestimate how much they don't move when they're at their desk, or even if you go into the office, for instance, how much you move, whether that's even just looking at the person next to you or talking to that person who's come over to your desk. If you're at home, for instance, or it can be very like the whole time, and it's the lack of movement that is pretty much the biggest reason why people get so much musculoskeletal pain that impacts how they feel. I can't remember the other question.
Neither can I. I think that was the main one, which is most common causes of that. And then I suppose the follow-up question, which might have asked prior to that, was how can we then best heal? So what are if those are the most common causes, what are the most common easy to use solutions, or I'm assuming it's going to be some form of exercises or stretching that people can do to help heal their own musculoskeletal system.
Yeah. So movement really. So like even just literally slight twisting or like just doing that with your head, for instance, is getting movement through your neck. Stretching with your neck like that and like this, really good. If you're at a desk, you can twist, things like that. So those things are key, but then also you've got other things like nutrition, having low inflammatory foods. And things like processed foods are going to increase inflammation and therefore your pain. Then you've got things like sleep. There's a lot of evidence behind sleep impacting the way in which your body recovers. And then also your mindset is huge. So that sort of, we talk about neuroplasticity and what you tell yourself, right? Like if you say that you're going to drop the glass, then you'll drop the glass, for like, so there's a lot of talk on, like what you tell yourself, your body believes. So, there's this whole thing of if you tell yourself that you're gonna be bad at trading, you will, like your body, your brain believes it. So it's important to be positive about those things. They get, it's like that kind of almost visualization. They get a lot of sports people, athletes to visualize scoring a goal or visualize that play or where, and they do a lot of visualization. And people are quite often they're quick to sort of forget their body in that. So that their body narrative is actually really low. So a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm old now.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I'm just broken.
Yeah. Oh, I've got
just
genetically bad knees. That's what I say.
Yeah. So it's like something that just people say, right? Like, and just don't think that it's going to do anything. But the reality is your brain is believing it. So it's going, all right, yeah, if you want weak knees, fine. Like, okay, let me protect your knees by giving you pain in your knees.
Yeah.
You don't, like it's
Protect
gonna,
the identity you perceive about yourself. And I that phrase body narrative, I've never heard that before, but I love that. What a brilliant question. What is your own body narrative about yourself?
Yeah.
Which is why I keep trying to tell myself at the moment, I lose fat easily and I build muscle fast. And eventually the body's going to believe it and it's going to happen, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, well, you're going to see Lewis here with his like massive shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah. And my medal on still.
Yeah, still.
Marathon. Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's really, really interesting. One of the things I think about with that body narrative stuff is, again, thinking about checking in with ourselves. That's a very simple thing to do. Like, what are the things I'm saying about my body? What are the things I'm believing about my body that maybe aren't true? So, for example, going back to the marathon, because I don't know if you know, but I ran the marathon on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I used to always say I had asthma. And like, so I'm not very good at running because I've got asthma. It turns out I didn't have asthma. I was just fat and unfit. That was the truth of it, because I just hadn't bothered to run enough to get my cardiovascular health up. And now I know that's not the case. I mean, I had asthma as a kid, but I just believed that story from them becoming an adult. So yes, it might have been true as a child, but I've grown out of it. But I kept that body narrative, which only when actually testing it and seeing if it was true, I realized that's not true whatsoever for me now as an adult, because the easiest part of my whole running journey to the marathon was my breathing. Like, even on literally doing the marathon, other than when I started to hyperventilate because I was crying, my breathing was totally fine. So I'm like, oh, I find that really, really interesting. Like, what have I, because I've just broken one narrative that wasn't true. What other narratives do I have about my body that I could challenge or that I could change? And I think that's something that I would recommend anybody on the call to do, is to think about, it's just as one key takeaway from today, what is your body narrative and what could you change about that to give you a better experience for what you actually want to see from your body or experience from your body as well. That's brilliant. So Anybody who has any questions for Anisha, please put them into the chat. We're last chance for asking questions. No one's asked any questions just yet. But what would you say is the number one? I'm sure you get this question all the time. What's the number one thing people could improve their muscular and skeletal health?
I'd say the one thing that is the easiest thing to do is to look in the mirror every single day and say, my body is strong.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then what does strong mean?
Strong as in, well, it means that, I was going to say, well, it means not weak. So it's reminding your brain that you're okay.
Yeah.
That, it's that recognizing so like if your body is trying to protect you or your brain is trying to protect you, it's sort of reminding your brain to be like, okay, chill out, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by it's like calling yourself strong, right? It's like, I am strong,
Yeah.
Especially if you're in pain, it's a really good thing to do, even if it's a niggle.
Yeah. I've just come up with two questions which I want to ask. So number one, pillows. What's actually a good pillow because I can never seem to get a good pillow that makes me feel comfortable, but also doesn't give me like a dodgy neck in the morning.
Okay, so you're not going to like this answer, but basically it's likely that you've not got to the root cause of the problem yet, and it's probably not your pillow. It's actually probably that when you're next in London, you need a treatment with me.
Yeah.
And I'll sort it out in one session, and then basically it's about getting sleep. I think actually there's no right pillow for anyone.
Right, I'll get that booked in then.
It's about sleep. Like, so, a lot of people, they'll be like, do I need a new pillow? And I'm like, are you sleeping? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, don't buy a new pillow then.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then my other one is, tell us the story about how you saved Carfest.
Oh yeah. So I saved Carfest. Because last year when we were there, I got a call from the organizers, and they said, are you free? Because one of the artists who's going to be performing this evening has done his back in, and can you come and like just see if there's anything you can do to help him? So I went backstage, and it was Matt from Busted, Matt Willis, and Love is Blind, probably more recently.
Yeah.
Poor guy had hurt his back. I was able to treat him, fix him. He was able to perform on stage in front of thousands of people, and he did a little shout out as well to me in front of everyone, and was it was very cool, and it meant that I could. What was random is that I also treat Rita Ora, and she was performing that night as well, so she was also backstage. So it was like, she was like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, just treating Matt.
Yeah, that is funny.
Yeah, so it was amazing, a great experience, and just shows the power of, I guess, getting the right advice. But for me, it's about handing back that health,
Yeah. Questions come through here. What would you suggest when you have setbacks in terms of working through pain issues and feeling better, and then having a random pain flare and feeling like you've gone back a few steps?
I would say that that's your brain trying to scare you. Right. So it's where you've got a bit better, and you're maybe starting to push yourself a bit more, and your brain is like, let me just remind you that you had this injury, or you've got a back problem, So it's good to listen to your brain, but it's also good to proactively reassure it. So I would say, when you have that flare up, just reminding yourself again, going, okay, I know what you're doing. It's almost like treat your brain like a third person, like, I know what's happening. It's okay. I know that this is going to go. Like, it's just sort of maintaining that positivity and confidence around the fact that it's just a little blip. It's a bit like weight loss, like, it's never linear. Like, it's never just going to go like that, is it? You might get on the scales one day and be 1 pound heavier, and you'll be like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Or, and that's kind of how the body is in many respects, is that it will do a little bit of this, and it's normal. It's very normal.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Well, that brings us to the end of our session today. So Anisha, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone in the chat, please give Anisha a big thank you. I've put Anisha's Instagram in the chat for everyone, as well as the book. So yes, thank you all for joining us. And Anisha, I'll speak to you very, very soon.
Thanks. This is a great audience, by the way.
They're lovely. Yeah, they really are.
I'm quite jealous.
Yeah.
I might come and hang out more often.
Just come and hang out. Yeah, we love it. Yeah. I'll send you an
Thanks
invite to the summer
so much.
party. Oh, by the way, I do need to do a quick bit of housekeeping for everybody. We are growing, so we need to expand our community constellations. So I've put a link into the Discord, because when we move and create a new constellation, we love people to move over with us who have different levels of experience, just so the new guys joining that community constellation have other people to bounce off of as well. So please consider moving. It's probably going to happen tomorrow, if not early on the weekend. So click the link. It's in the announcement section, as well in the everything chat on our current constellations as well. So yes, thank you everybody. I will speak to you very, very soon. Bye-bye.
Lewis, bye.